Welcome back to Matt Explains Science. In today's class, we look at temperature conversions. In particular, converting between the three temperature scales of Kelvin, Celsius and Fahrenheit. Alright, so let's go. Starting with the Fahrenheit scale. The Fahrenheit scale identifies two fixed points at standard atmospheric pressure. The lower defining point is the temperature at which water freezes, and the upper defining point is the temperature at which it boils. The freezing point of water is 30 degrees Fahrenheit, and its boiling point is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. So, the minimum and maximum limits are separated by 180 degrees. Now the Celsius scale is more familiar to me. It too is defined by two fixed points at standard atmospheric pressure. The temperature at which water freezes on the Celsius scale is 0 degrees, and the temperature at which it boils is 100 degrees. The freezing and boiling points are separated by 100 degrees. Now, the Kelvin scale, or sometimes referred to as the absolute temperature scale, has its base unit for temperature in the International System of Units, whereby 0 Kelvin is the lowest theoretical temperature possible. At this temperature, the particles in an object cease to move and have zero kinetic energy. On the Kelvin scale, a 1 degree increase is also a 1 degree increase on the Celsius scale. So, how does the Kelvin scale compare to Celsius and Fahrenheit? Well, the freezing points of water we know are 0 degrees for Celsius and 30 degrees for Fahrenheit. So for Kelvin, this comes out at 273.15. Try and remember this value, as it will be very useful when making conversions in the future. Standard room temperature for Celsius is 25 degrees, and for Fahrenheit it is 77 degrees. For Kelvin, we add another 25 to 273.15 to get 298.15 Kelvin. And finally, the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius and 212 degrees Fahrenheit. For Kelvin, this works out to 373.15 Kelvin. Now, what about absolute zero? On the Kelvin scale, it is set at 0. But how about for Celsius and Fahrenheit? Remember that 1 degree increase in Celsius is equivalent to 1 Kelvin. So it's quite simple to get negative 273.15 degrees Celsius for absolute zero. Fahrenheit is set at minus 459.67 degrees, and it is a little more complicated to work out. So let's look how we can convert between the three scales. So start off with a temperature recorded in Celsius. We can convert to Kelvin and Fahrenheit using the following two equations. To convert to Kelvin, we simply add 273.15 to our value in Celsius. And to get to Fahrenheit, we must multiply our value by 1.8 and then add 32. If we start off with a temperature recorded in Fahrenheit, we can convert to Kelvin and Celsius using these two equations. To convert to Kelvin, we must subtract 32 from our starting value and then divide by 1.8. Then we must add 273.15. Effectively, we are converting to Celsius first and then to Kelvin. So converting from Fahrenheit to Celsius is similar to the previous equation. We must simply subtract 32 and then divide by 1.8. Finally, converting from Kelvin to Celsius and Fahrenheit. To get to Celsius, we must subtract 273.15. And to Fahrenheit, we subtract 273.15, then multiply by 1.8, and finally add 32. Again, we are effectively converting to Celsius first and then to Fahrenheit. Let's just make a note of these equations again. Right, let's just look at some simple conversion problems to make sure we have got the hang of it. On this table we can see that we need to fill in the blanks by converting between the temperature scales. Starting with the average temperature of the human body. We can see that in Celsius it is set at 37 degrees. So our starting temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. So first, to convert from Celsius to Kelvin, we simply add 273.15. So 37 plus 273.15 gives us a value of 310.15 Kelvin. And now, to get to Fahrenheit, we must multiply our starting value by 1.8 and then add 32. So 37 times 1.8 gives us 66.6, and then we add 32, which gives us 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, now the second example gives us the melting point of silver in Kelvin at 1235. So we take our starting value as 1235 Kelvin, and to get to Celsius we simply subtract 273.15. So 1235 minus 273.15 gives us 961.85 degrees Celsius. And to get to Fahrenheit, we must subtract 273.15 from our starting value, multiply it by 1.8, and then add 32. We already know that 1235 minus 273.15 equals 961.85. So multiplying by 1.8 we get 1731.33 degrees. And then adding 32 we get the answer 1763.33 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, our last problem asks us to find the average surface temperature on Mars in Kelvin and Celsius. Our starting temperature is minus 81 degrees Fahrenheit. to get to Celsius, we must subtract 32 and then divide by 1.8. So negative 81 minus 32 gives us minus 113. And then dividing by 1.8 gives us a temperature of minus 62.78 degrees Celsius. And then to get to Kelvin, we can take the value of negative 62.78 and then add 273.15. This gives us a temperature in Kelvin of 210.27. And there you have it. We have completed the table. 6 equations that can help you convert between any temperature scale. Although if you can remember that to switch between Kelvin and Celsius, you need to add 273.15. This will help you a lot, and to switch from Celsius to Fahrenheit, you must multiply by 1.8 and then add 32. With these two relations, the other conversions can be derived. So, there you have it, converting between temperature scales made easy. Thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more content. Please like and subscribe. Thank you very much.